Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back for another 1908 game. We've got the Reds against the Cubs here, and this is going to be the home opener for the Cubs. And let's see how far we can get before this game freezes. In the game I played before this one, I had a little freezing issue as well. It's a problem with VirtualBox, and I may end up trying to switch to a different Windows emulation system because of all the problems. Royalbach is going to start this one here for the Cubs. And up first is Hans Lobert, rolls a 65 for a 35. That's a pop-up over to third baseman Harry Steinfeld for the first out. Here comes Miller Huggins. He rolls a 25 for an 8, and that's a ground ball over to Tinker. Throws to first for the out. 2 away. Here's John Gansel. Gansel rolls a 23 for a 32. It's a fly ball over to right field. Schultz has it, and now we go to the bottom of the first just like that. Here's Johnny Evers. Evers up there, rolls a 44 for an 8. That's a ground ball over to shortstop. Hulswith has it, throws to first for the out, 1 away. Here's Joe Tinker. He'll roll a 13 for a 39. That's changed to 41. That's another ground ball over to the shortstop. Hulswith throws to first for the out, 2 away. Here is Frank Chance. Frank Chance rolls a 25 for a 10, and there's a clean base hit for Chance, and that brings up Johnny Kling. We'll sort of keep Chance there on first. We won't do anything fancy here. The roll is a 56 for a 32. That's a pop-up over to center field, and it's Kane who's underneath that and makes the play. We go to the top of the second. The Reds are awful so far this year, 0-7. The Cubs haven't lost yet. Paskert here rolls a 36 for a 32. It's a fly ball to right field. Schultz has it for the out, 1 away. One of the reasons why the Cubs haven't lost yet is because they keep playing Cincinnati. Here's John Kane, rolls a 65 for a 35. That's another pop-up over to Steinfeld for the second out. Here's Mike Mitchell. He rolls a 45 for a 14. There's a walk. That's the one weakness that Ed Rulbach has. He walks a lot. Walks a lot of guys, I should say. Here's Rudy Hulswith. Rolls a 13 for a 14. There's a second walk, so 2 men on because of 2 walks up here for Admiral Schley. 2 outs here, top of the second. He rolls a 12 for a 25. That's a ground ball over to Tinker. Flips to Evers for the out. We go to the bottom of the second inning. Jimmy Sheckard is up there. He rolls a 13 for a 14, and there's a base on balls. First one given up by Bob Spade in this game. That brings up Harry Steinfeld, who rolls a 61 for a 32. That's a fly ball out to Mitchell in right field for the first out. Sheckard, of course, stays at first, and here's Wildfire Schultz. Rolls a 65 for a 35. That's a little pop-up back to the catcher, Schley, who gets it for the second out. And here comes Slagle. He rolls a 42 for a 32. That'll be a fly ball over to Kane in center field, and he gets that for the out. We go to the top of the third inning just like that. Fast moving. Here's the pitcher, Bob Spade. Rolls a 54 for a 45. But hold everything. We got a little E-roll, but it's 46 out of the range. That's a fly ball over to right field, and Schultz has it for the out. 1 away. Here's Hans Lobert. He rolls a 42 for a 9, and that's a single base hit, first hit of the game for the Cubs. But the little C means that Lobert is caught trying to steal as Miller Huggins is up there. 2 outs now, and here is Huggins. Whoops, and I wrote in the wrong play results. Undo. It should be 45, and there it is. It's a walk to Miller Huggins, and he steals second base as John Gansel's up there. So that is walk number 3 given up by Royalbach, who's having a real hard time with his control here in this one. The roll for Gansel is a 53 for a 19. That is a hit by pitcher, and Gansel takes first base, and that brings up Dode Paskert. That's a little unusual hit by pitch result, but that's kind of the way it is, and that's the way it's written. And here's the roll for Paskert. It's a 35 for a 40, and this will be a little ground ball over to second base. Evers has it, flips over to first for the out, and we go to the bottom of the third, and here is Ed Royalbach. He rolls a 25 for an 8. That's a ground ball again to shortstop to Hulswith, throws to first for the out, 1 away, and here's Evers. He rolls a 13 for a 14, and that's a walk against Bob Spade. Gives up walk number 2. Tinker up there now rolls a 21 for a 30. That's a fly ball to Paskert and left, and that's the second out. And here's Frank Chance. He rolls a 41 for a 28. That is a ground ball again to Hulswith, throws over to first for the out. We go to the top of the fourth. Quick moving game. John Kane is up there now, and he rolls a 54 for a 45. We do have a little E-roll. And the roll is a 34. It's out of the range. It's a fly ball over to right field. Schultz has it for the out. That brings up Mike Mitchell with 1 out here, top of the fourth. And Mitchell rolls a 42 for a 32. Another fly ball over to right field. Schultz has it for the out. Here's Rudy Hulswith. He rolls a 25 for an 8, and that's a fly ball over to center field. Slagle has it for the out. Up to the bottom of the fourth inning. And here's Johnny Kling. Only 2 hits in this one. Kling rolls a 65 for a 35. There is a little E possibility. The roll, though, is 61 out of the range, and that's a pop-up over to Hans Lobert, the third baseman, who makes the out, 1 away. Here's Jimmy Sheckard, rolls a 61 for a 40, and that changes to a 36. Either way, it's the ball. The next roll for Sheckard is a 63 for a 32. It's a fly ball over to Mitchell in right field. He makes the play, 2 away, and here's Harry Steinfeld. He rolls a 12 for a 24. We do have a little E roll to worry about, and this one's a 65 out of the range. That's another ground ball over to Holswith. Throws over to first base for the out. We go to the top of the fifth. Admiral Schley is up there, and he rolls a 41 for a 28. That is a ground ball over to Tinker. The shortstop throws to first for the out. One away, and here's Bob Spade. And Spades rolls a 44 for an 8. Finally, they get some doubles, but unfortunately, with Royal back on the mound, that is a little ground ball to Tinker. Throws to first for the out, 2 away, and here's Hans Lobert. He rolls a 66 for a 0, and he's going to go deep. And this next one's a 55 for a 2. Triple to left center for Lobert. And that is really the first bit of power we've had anywhere in this game. And let's see here. And yeah, so Hans is going to end up being the runner here on third base. I think it's the furthest we've had any runner from either team in this one. And we are in the top of the 5th inning. This has been a pretty remarkable game. Just no hitting at all to speak of. And Lobert is able to go double columns here, get that big triple. And he is the runner on third base and represents what obviously would be the go-ahead run in this scoreless game. Although there are 2 outs, that brings up Miller Huggins, and you kind of have to swing away with Huggins. And the roll is a 34 for a 44, which normally is an out. We do have the little E rule, and it's an 11. And that means that changes to a 22, which is an error. That's a comeback over to Royalbach, who boots it, and everybody is safe. Huggins reaches first base safely, and Lobert scores with the first run, and it's 1-0 Cincinnati, and that winning streak is on the line. So pretty exciting play here in the first inning of this one, or in the in the fifth inning of this one. And that will bring up John Gansel with the runner on first base, still with 2 outs and only 2 hits for the Reds. Gansel rolls a 43 for a 29, and that's a comebacker again to Royalbach. He handles this one correctly and goes over to first with it for the out. We go to the bottom of the 5th, and here's Schultz. The roll is a 52 for a 27. That's a ground ball to Lobert to third. Throws over to first for the out, 1 away. Here comes Slagle, and he rolls a 66 for a 0. We are going to go deep again. I'm going to re-roll that. That was not on. The next roll is a 25 for a 6, and that's a clean double for Jimmy Slagle. And so we do have a little bit of power in this game, and that'll bring up Royalbach, and we have a decision to make. So we're down by 1 run. We have 1 out here with the runner on second base for the Cubs. And the pitcher is up. We're probably just going to go ahead and bunt with him and see what comes of that. Not a lot of things can go wrong here. So the roll is the 63 for a 13. Well, that's one of the things that could go wrong. That winds up being a foul strike. We're going to try it again. Roll this time is a 53 for a 21. And that is a good bunt down to first base to Gansel, and he ends up booting that one. Royalbach will be safe at first, and Slagle, of course, makes it to third. And so it works. The gamble pays off. And that does, I believe, count as a sacrifice in the books. It does count as a sacrifice hit, which is interesting when you're thinking about how things count. And so now you have runners on first and third with only 1 out, and the infield, of course, is going to come in. Johnny Evers is up there. He's not bunting anywhere. And his roll is going to be a 61. And the 61 is a 36, and that will be changed to a 23. And this gives us the game called because of rain. So we could theoretically, if we wanted to, just stop the game here and say it's a 1-1 tie. I've been thinking beforehand, actually, about what I would do if I were in this situation at some point in time. And my decision is that instead of calling this one a tie like I probably should, we're just going to go ahead and keep playing. The nice thing here about NP3 is it allows you to keep playing. So we're just going to go ahead and keep going as if that didn't happen. We're going to just call that a reroll. See what happens. Evers now with the second roll rolls a 46 for a 29. And that is a comebacker over to Spade. Throws over to first for the out. Royalbach moves up to second, but there are 2 outs now. And that brings up Joe Tinker. And Tinker now rolls the 56 for a 34, and that's a big pop-up over to Holswith, the shortstop, makes the play for the out. We go to the top of the 6th. Reason why I don't want to do a whole bunch of rainouts if I don't have to is because I don't want to have to mess around too much with like rescheduling and with doing all of the stuff that comes along with that. Theoretically, it's not really that realistic, but the point here, I figure, is to play the games. But it might be a little bit of controversy. You let me know in the comments what you think. Passkard here rolls a 54 for a 45. That's a fly ball over to right field. Schultz has it for the first out. Here's John Kane, 1 out in the top of the 6th. Rolls a 45 for a 14 with that little stolen base, and he gets another stolen base. And here's Mike Mitchell, 1 out, runner on second. And the roll is an 11 for a 0. And the next roll is a 32. Whoops. I have to actually put in a number. There we go. 32 for a 7. That's a single to right field. Scores the runner. Mitchell is on first base. 2-0 now Cubs. And here's Holsworth. He rolls a 12 for a 24. That is a ground ball over to Tinker. Tinker goes over to Evers, and he flips over to Chance for the out. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Here is Frank Chance, and the roll is a 66 for a 0. And the next roll, 21 for a 6, and that's a double. And that'll bring up Johnny Kling. 3rd hit of the ball game for the Cubs. Kling rolls a 34 for a 44, and that is a fly ball over to Kane, the center fielder. Chance able to move over to third base, and up comes Jimmy Sheckard. We will pull the infield in, even though it's a 2-run lead, and Sheckard rolls a 24 for a 13 and strikes out. That means there's 2 outs, and here's Harry Steinfeld now, and his roll is a 56 for a 34. Now we do have a little E to worry about. Little E rolls a 63. That's out of the range. That's a pop fly over to the first baseman. Gansel makes the play. We go to the top of the 7th. It is more fun if we don't just call it rain out and then call it like a 1-0 game or whatever it would have been. Schley now rolls a 66 for a 0. His next roll is a 46 for a 7. He goes double column fishing, but only gets a single out of it, and that brings up the pitcher, Bob Spade, who's pitching very well today. He's going to bunt. And that's going to be a 13. That's a foul strike on him. He gets another chance, another bunt, and this time he rolls a 51 for a 9. That is a bunt over to Steinfeld, who throws over to Evers, the second baseman covering first. Hans Lobert up there now with Admiral Schley on at second. There's some chances for the Reds, and his roll is a 34 for a 44. That's a fly ball over to Slagle in center field, makes the play, and Schley moves to third. 2 outs here. Miller Huggins up there again, runner on third base. Another chance for Miller Huggins, and he rolls an 11 for a 0. The next roll is a 34 for an 11. That's a single that scores the runner, and Huggins winds up with a stolen base out of it. 3-0 now Reds. John Gansel now rolls a 14 for a 43, and that's a fly ball over to Slagle for the 3rd out. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. That winning streak's on the line. Here's Wildfire Schultz. He rolls a 56 for a 34, and the Little E rolls a 61 out of range. That's a pop fly over to Holsworth, the shortstop, makes the 1st out. Jimmy Slagle now rolls a 43 for a 29. As a comebacker over to Spade, throws over to first for the out, 2 away, and here's Ed Royalbach. Rolls a 43 for a 29. Another comebacker to Spade. Throws over to first for the out. And we're up to the top of the 8th inning. Here's Dode Paskert. Rolls a 44 for an 8, which is a ground ball over to Tinker, who throws to first for the out. 1 away. Here's John Kane. He rolls a 42 for a 32. It's a fly ball to Schultz, the right fielder. 2 away. And here's Mike Mitchell. He'll roll a 34 for a 44. There's a little E-roll, though, and it's a 42 out of the range. That's a fly ball up there to Slagle. He makes the catch for the out. We go to the bottom of the 8th, and it's Johnny Evers. Rolls a 61 for a 36. Change to 37. That is just a strike. Next roll is a 44 for an 8. That's a single for Evers, who's trying to get something going, but is caught stealing. And here comes Joe Tinker. Rolls a 14 for a 43. We do have the little E to worry about. Roll, though, is a 55, and that's a little fly ball over to left field. Paskert has it for the out, 2 away, and here's Frank Chance. And Chance, and I'm rolling all over the place here. There we go. Chance rolls a 53 for a 19. That's changed to a 20. That's going to be an error. First on an error on Miller Huggins, and that brings up Johnny Kling. So the Cubs have a little bit of life here in the bottom of the 8th. Kling, however, rolls a 54 for a 45. That's a fly ball over to Kane, the center fielder. We go to the top of the 9th, and here's Rudy Holsworth. He rolls a 22 for a 7, a clean single to right field against Ed Royalbach, who's still in there. Actually still pitching well, still a B. That brings up Admiral Schley, and we'll just go ahead and swing away instead of bunting. The roll's a 61 for a 27, and that is a ground ball over to Steinfeld at third. He flips over to Evers at second for the out. Schley is up at first base on the fielder's choice. Up comes Spade, the pitcher. Rolls a 63 for a 29. That's a comebacker to Royalbach, who goes over to second with it, the hard way over to Tinker. And they get the lead runner out. Hans Lobert up there now. They can't complete the double play, and so Spade's on at first. And the roll again is a 43 for a 29, and Royalbach grabs that one, throws to first for the out, and that does it. We go to the bottom of the 9th, and here's Jimmy Sheckard. Sheckard rolls a 43 for a 29, comebacker to Bob Spade, throws over to first for the out, 1 away. Wonder if there's something going on with these dice, huh? Next man up is Harry Steinfeld, rolls a 15 for a 10, and there's a single to center field. Spade, though, will stay in there, and here comes Wildfire Schultz, and it doesn't matter what they do with Steinfeld because, or what we decide to do, I should say, with Steinfeld, because he doesn't matter. His run doesn't count that much, so we will just swing away. The roll is a 24 for a 13. That's strikeout number 2 for Spade, and that one comes in a real clutch situation. That brings up Jimmy Slagle with the last chance for the Cubs, and his roll is a 64 for a 13, strikeout number 3. Spade seemed to get better as time went on there at the end of that game. The Reds have beaten the Cubs here 3-0, and the Reds have won their first game, and that's the end of the Cubs winning streak. Hope you enjoyed that one. I'll see you tomorrow with more action. Bye-bye.